Hello friends, today I would like to discuss the topic syntax. Let us see the definition of syntax. The study of way of combining words into phrases, phrases into clauses and clauses into sentences is called syntax. Means whenever we combine the words and that becomes the phrases. And when we combine the phrases, that becomes clauses. And when we combine the clauses, that become sentences. In this way, we have the definition here. The study of way of combining words into phrases, phrases into clauses, and clauses into sentences. It is called syntax. Syntax involves the study of grammatical sentences in sentences and their position in the sentence. Means whenever we study the syntax which involves the study of grammatical elements in sentence, at the same time it involves their position in the sentence. So syntax tries to describe the various functions. There are various functions of the sentences that are performed by the grammatical elements in the sentence. So here the syntax tries to describe different functions which are performed by the elements in sentence. For example, the word Smita, which is a noun, but in each of these sentences, it has various varying functions. See, there are different functions of the same word. Here, Smita is a word which is a noun, but when we use the same word in different sentences, it has different functions. Now, let us see how it has different functions of the word Smita, which is a noun. See here the first example. Smita likes chess. Smita like chess. In this sentence, here we know that Smita functioning as the subject of the sentence. Here, Smita comes in the beginning, which is a noun. It functions as subject. But in the second sentence, Ganesh loves Smita. Here the word Smita, it changed its place that came at the end, but it has different function. Here, Smita is a noun, but its function is different. In the second sentence, Ganesh loves Smita. Here, Smita, it functions as the object of the sentence. In the first sentence, Smita functions as the subject of the sentence. In the second sentence, Smita functions as the object of the sentence. In the third sentence, that girl is Smita. The third sentence is, that girl is Smita. Here, in this sentence, Smita functions as the complement of the sentence. Here, it functions as complement. In what way we know? The same word Smita, which is a noun, it has three different functions. In the first sentence, it functions as subject. In the second sentence, it functions as object. And in the third sentence, it functions as complement. In this way, that same word Smita has different functions in these three examples. In short, we can say syntax is about the principles of forming and understanding sentences. It is about the principles of forming and understanding sentences. The form or structure of sentence. The form or structure of sentence is governed by the rules of syntax. It is governed, structure or form of the sentence is governed by the rules of syntax, because there are some rules of the syntax which are given here. When we think about the rules of that syntax, that rules of syntax that should be able to explain, rules of syntax should be able to explain how sentences are formed grammatically at the same time meaningfully. That is very important. Means rules of grammar that should be able to explain how there is the formation of the sentences, how the sentences are formed grammatically at the same time meaningfully. So these rules specify, the rules of syntax specify word order, they specify sentence association, at the same time they specify relationship between word, word classes, and other sentence elements. Traditionally, we can say that syntax is defined as that branch of linguistics. We can say that here, Traditionally, syntax is defined as that branch of linguistics which studies the structure of sentences, which studies the structure of sentences, which is the branch of linguistics that studies the structure of sentences. For example, when we see the first example in A, can you understand here? Now I read out here. Batsman, otherwise, code, match, the, and, in, forgettable, only, last century. Did you understand? Did you get the meaning? What do you think about this sentence? Can you call it a sentence? See, this sentence is clearly ungrammatical. It is almost impossible to understand, or it's almost impossible to interpret. We can't interpret the sentence because it is ungrammatical. Now let us see the another examples. In the B sentence, now listen it carefully. The only century was scored by the last batsman in an otherwise forgettable match. Now the third sentence. In an otherwise forgettable match, the only century was scored by the last batsman. Then D. In an otherwise forgettable match, the last batsman scored the only century. See, when we see other three examples, here we will come to know that we are wondering, why? Are you wondering why the kind of jumbling words we did in the first example, which produce an uninterpretable sentence? It is impossible to interpret, to analyze, because it is ungrammatical. We don't have the meaning of that sentence. But when we have another kinds of sentences, in the first sentence, we have only the jumbling or the movement of the words. Jumbling words, jumbled words are the moment of words that are there. But these jumbled words that just we have moved in the another three sentences. Which are the jumbled words we have in the first sentence? We have collected some group of words and that moved in the another three sentences. Now listen, which are the three sentences which are resulting in grammatical sentences. Now let us see the first, that B we can say here. Already we have seen, you have understood what we had done differently in B, D, and C and D. Here, we know that another two sentences just already we have seen here. The only century was scored by the last batsman in an otherwise forgettable match. In an otherwise forgettable match, the only century was scored by the last batsman. And in an otherwise forgettable match, the last batsman scored by the only century. Here, you have already understood what we did, what we had done differently in the sentences B, C, and D. Means instead of randomly moving every word, we only move words in longer groups. And which are the longer groups that we did? That are the only century, the last batsman, and in an otherwise forgettable match. Which are these group of words? These group of words into what are called phrases. Means combination of words we have here. Already we have the reference in the definition of the syntax. So this grouping of words into what are called phrases is an important aspect of the organization of the, or we can say the structure of the sentences. In this way, we come to know about the syntax.